change.
Some things don't change.
No.
Why change what word?
Is it a very good idea to drink? I think it's cooler today so we can actually drink rum. I feel like we have an excuse to try to warm up.
We've stepped it up a little bit on season 2 now.
We're grown. We're
off the
hot liquor.
Yeah, you
We're
know.
off the hot stuff.
And actually, you know, we needed maybe a stronger drink tonight because we are going to tackle a serious issue actually that I think affects a lot of people. I know it affects me. I know it affects you guys.
Yeah.
And that would be discrimination. I think that's a big topic.
Yeah.
Very relevant.
Very relevant on many levels.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel a little nervous about this because I tend to get in trouble. Let me not say that. In the past, I've had... let's not put that out there. In the past, I found myself very quickly, aggressively challenged about my position on race. And I've always been very confused about it. So I do hope that we can have a conversation about the color of our skin or what our choices are in life in terms of, I made this choice, this is who I'm going to worship. Or things that I can't control or our opinions without attacking each other, you know?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Well, I also want to say, like, even on the racial topic, you know, I think it goes even deeper than just skin color. It's your heritage.
Yeah.
And, you know, right now, even in the media, with everything going on with politics, especially in the United States of America, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So, just if you guys don't know, I don't know, I'm Latina. The ladies here are black. So I think, you know, some way, even if we're not in the United States, we're affected. I don't know if you guys are. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, absolutely.
To a certain degree. Luckily, we're not going through what the States is going through up here. We're kind of fortunate, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm pretty affected by it.
I feel like there's this whole thing about Canada being, like that's it, being cut off from that type of discrimination, that racial tension, and I disagree. It might not be to that extent.
It's not in your face.
Yeah.
Well, I find in certain things, there is a difference. Like I've said it many times, like interracial dating. That is not even a term that's used up here. You don't hear it. And if you walk down, I'm just saying for Montreal, if you walk down, 90% of couples are interracial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't even have that term up here. So in some things, I don't think we're as affected as the United States, but I definitely agree with what you're saying, Dee, that Canada likes to pride themselves in the fact that we don't have, racial profiling, which is absolutely not true. I just think it's silent. There's laws put in place in Canada, maybe that the United States should have as well, where, you know, it's like, there's certain laws here. If you have a racial outburst or whatever, you could do jail time. But that is the issue. It's not because those laws are put into place that racism doesn't exist up here.
Yeah.
Because people will follow the law because they know something could happen to them, but that doesn't mean behind closed doors or when they're talking to you, they're not racist. I've been through a lot of racial things up here in Canada.
Yeah.
Not compared to experiences I've had in the States, which were extremely traumatizing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd live them up here, to be honest. But I've been through some stuff here where, you know, after a while you see someone's true colors and it's I've experienced a lot of it in jobs I was doing. Work.
Well, something that I found interesting is that I was having a conversation with a man that's a métis, which is basically like a native. He is from native descent, and he was saying how he found that in Canada, a lot of the time when you talk about racism, they'll talk about racism between whites and natives. Yeah. But like the other ethnic groups are like not like that racism doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
That's
for every other ethnic group, it's just everybody's accepted and blah blah blah.
That's not true.
And I disagree.
So do I.
But at the same time, I would say that the skin deep, the big scar here is indeed between the natives.
Oh, absolutely.
And the whites.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely horrible. How we treat them. They are living in a state where it's unacceptable, like on so many levels, you know. And even Lady Andy and I, we were working on a mutual project together, and we were touching on slavery, but sex slaves.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but a lot of the Native women are being sold as well here, right, like in front of our eyes, and nobody knows nothing.
Yeah.
And I think if people even do hear it, they don't care. Yeah. They're not involved, you know. And it's like, it's funny how we disregard that you know, the Native Indians, like, and it's their land, really.
Well, I mean,
it's insane.
I don't know how sensitive my statement's going to be, but it's like when I think the immensity of the reduction of their numbers and of their culture, it's insane, and we just don't acknowledge. We don't really think about it.
Acknowledge it.
We don't think about it, but I don't know. Personally, I can't go back in time and fix what happened to the Native Indians. I can't go back in time and fix the stuff that happened to Africans. I can't go back in time and fix the stuff that's happened. I mean, like, everywhere.
No, we can't fix it, but the fact is that everyone's putting it, because there's been advancements in laws, like I said before, it's not because there's laws now that it abolishes racism. Yeah. All it does is that it masks racism, and now nobody wants to, because some people do feel guilty, nobody wants to be held accountable for what they did in the past. And it's not because it's things that happened in the past, that because it's the past, there is no repercussions to this. There's huge repercussions on so many levels, even genetically. There's repercussions. All that memory is in you, you know,
all that pain,
and I'm sorry, I don't care. I've recently with you experienced something, and you know, people don't understand. It's ignorance, but it's still hurtful. I was with Miss Lady Andy. We were watching the soccer last year. Argentina was at the finals. Yes. And we were at an Argentinian restaurant, and we went outside in the break, and this gentleman was rooting for, he was a white man, rooting for Argentina, and Lady Andy said I was from Argentina. So he turned around to me, he's like, "Oh, you're so well-spoken."
What the hell?
So I got defensive.
Obviously.
You know, and he couldn't understand, and the more he tried to explain himself, the worse it got.
The angrier you got.
You know, the worse it got, and it just escalated. And you know what? I knew he didn't mean to insult me.
Yeah.
But this is where there's a very thin line for me.
Yeah.
Where people are like, "Well, I'm not racist."
Yeah.
But to me, look, the example of this man. Automatically, why would you think that I can't speak well? Because I'm South American. Because I'm Latina, you expect me not to speak properly, not to be educated?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm sorry. How is that not discrimination? How is that not racism? Because it's mass, because you enjoy my country, because you probably fuck Latinas, or that's what you're interested in, and you're submerged in my culture. It doesn't mean that you're not racist. If you're thinking that, automatically, to me, that's racism.
That's it. It's like, what's her name? Kelly Osbourne.
Oh my God! Don't get me started,
girl.
The
whole fiasco with that. So
yes, what Kelly Osbourne said to Rosie Perez.
Yes.
And Rosie Perez is the one that apologized.
She left The View after that, though.
Yeah.
And kudos to her, because I wouldn't have stayed either. She said, Kelly Osbourne was trying to go against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But she kind of sided with him because she was saying, yeah, okay, Donald Trump, so you want to get rid of all Latinos, so who's gonna wash our toilets?
Yeah. Who's gonna clean our toilets?
She swore up and down to the media that she fucked up, but she's not racist. See, this is where the problem lies.
Yeah.
Is that people, maybe they don't want to be racist, you know, and they don't want to be titled racist because a whole stigma comes with that too, right?
Yeah.
But you are. But it doesn't matter if it comes from ignorance. That's where it stems from, regardless.
I think everybody, in that sense, I think we all have prejudice against all sorts of people for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think that we're all a little racist.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like you're gonna go destroy a whole people and you're gonna, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I think that in order to get rid of racism, it's to accept that we all have prejudice.
Yeah.
You know, that sometimes you're gonna meet somebody or you're gonna like be around like a group of people and your prejudice is just gonna come out.
Whether it's about race or anything, what money they make, what their career is, what they dress like, who their boyfriends are,
prejudice,
their shoes,
prejudice.
It's like on every level,
and you have to, in order to
but there's a huge denial.
Yes, that's it. You have to.
Denial.
I think that what's happening is that. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I feel like what's happening. I'm going to speak like this spiritually and all that. Is that collectively there's a demand that people acknowledge that they have a shadow side that speaks like this, and it's just playing itself out. And I really feel horribly for the people extremely affected by it. I don't feel what you're feeling, but I feel it breaks my heart when I think about any form of prejudice. But acknowledge where we look at someone else or even ourselves and say, I don't understand you and I'm scared of you and I want to annihilate you because you make me uncomfortable or put you down or dominate. That's what I feel prejudice is about. And that's why when I was saying before is when I can't go back because the stories are so long and so tangled and so this and so that I'm like, you are a person standing in front of me right now. Whatever color you are, there is a person there, and that's who I want to talk to.
That's beautiful.
But when I say things like, I don't want to see color anymore, I have been yelled off for speaking that, or sometimes said, thank you for saying that.
It's weird, eh? You know? It's like either or. But you know, I used to think that.
I understand both sides. I understand both sides.
I get it.
But the thing is, to me, it was like when I used to say I don't want to see color, it's because I don't want to judge you based on what you look like. But
or where you come
when you
from.
say exactly, but when you say I don't see color, it also can mean is I'm erasing your identity.
Exactly.
I'm whitewashing you. So if you're whitewashed, then I can accept you.
That's why I'm saying, like, to me, I understand both sides, you know, because I understand where you're coming from, Lady Andy. You just want to see human beings. And if we had a world like that, it'd be beautiful because that's how it should be. You know what I mean? But that's why, you see, when I see stuff like people saying all lives matter, yes, this is pertaining to what you said. All lives do matter. But you cannot discredit what people have gone through and are still going through. So if there's people rising and starting to rise and say Black Lives Matter, you can't go and say all lives matter. They're not saying all lives that not all lives matter. But they are fighting for something that is unfair. And we could not hear, even as a collective, a race. We need, I agree with Dee, it starts with acceptance. You need to accept, you need to acknowledge. Cultures, a whole race and culture of people, Black, Latino, there's still slavery going on. Okay, people.
Modern day slavery.
There is in a lot of countries, even in Latin America, people are getting tortured. All kind of stuff is happening. Okay, so you know what? But to pretend or say, okay, well, you know what? This is in the past. You can't do that. And because people are doing that, that's why it's continuing.
Yeah.
It's propelling. People cannot heal. You're born, like, you can't ask people to forget.
No.
And this goes for everybody. Okay, this goes from the Holocaust, this goes from slavery. A lot of people were involved in slavery, and it's still going on. And we're not even talking about that anymore. Like, there's a lot of other things going on, we're not even talking about it. But when a group of people want to acknowledge that, you need to let people fight and try to fix something.
Yeah.
You cannot get involved because you feel guilty.
Well, actually,
Can't do that.
I hear what you're
white
saying.
privilege.
Yeah, I really feel very nervous about even adding things like when I say white privilege. It scares me to say any of that, and I hear what you mean about that. For me, when I see people say all lives matter, I don't think to myself, I understand that there's the Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm glad that there's some people that have the consciousness to say, while we're beaming attention, not to, because as soon as you start fighting against someone else's cause, someone is trying to fix their state of being.
That's all I'm saying, man.
So let them fix their state of being, but while you're doing it, if your voice is saying, I see all lives, and I want to say all lives matter, then...
But, sweetie, you have to see where people are coming from. Look, I'm not saying that some people don't feel that, because I'm going to tell you something. When you look at the civil rights movement, and you saw the march, a lot of white people marched in that, and a lot of white people gave their lives for civil rights.
Yes.
And if you'll notice, the people that really feel like that, they won't get involved and say all lives matter. They will go and partition beside.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying? They will go partition beside. They will go and support it.
The movement that's already there.
It doesn't mean nobody's saying anti-white. That's not what people. That's not what it is. So let people. This is. It's positive.
Yeah.
For people to do that, it lets you also. There was a lack in general of everyone getting connected with who they are, with their roots, with everything, their culture. It's something actually that I love about my culture. People really want to. They're very connected to their roots, and I think it's important.
It is important.
It doesn't mean I'm for my people. Doesn't mean I'm against you. It doesn't mean I'm against a white guy, Chinese. It doesn't matter.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, I hear what you're saying with that stuff, but that's how I feel when I see both hashtags. I feel like I see these people are trying to strengthen their cause, and these people see something they saw it and they said, this made me think of this. And I see, like, they're both grabbing the attention of the people that they need to grab. And what if, by recognizing that there was appreciation between the two causes,
but they're not doing
that.
It's causing a rift, though.
So rather for me, I don't put attention between the rift. Like, if I want to support, if my energy is to support Black Lives Matter, I'm just going to focus on supporting Black Lives Matter.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to focus on these other people. Let them do what they have to do, and I'm just going to do what I have to do, because all the attention I'm spending going over there or going over here and saying these people are taking away or not, like, it's kind of, or fighting those people when you have a cause that originally called you, and it's to get empowerment for your people.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I see your point, and I think it's beautiful, but it's like, I saw something really interesting on Twitter, and it was this guy, he was like, yeah, it's like you go to a cancer rally, like hashtag cure cancer, and then somebody comes up with hashtag cure all their illnesses.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what I'm talking about.
Let me ask you something.
It's diluting the effort.
When Martin Luther King said he had a dream, was he interrupted by people saying, we all have dreams? No.
But I don't understand how
they supported him. It didn't matter where you came from. Yes, there are more radical groups. So I get it, but I noticed that the people that are saying, but wait a minute, all lives matter, they're not the ones that are marching
blah, blah, blah.
beside that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why, like,
It feels like it comes from guilt.
Even worse. It comes from, to me, it comes from hate.
Well, that's it.
Like, me too.
Can I just add
Yeah,
something
sure.
to that?
Yeah, please.
Because you were talking about people who aren't in touch with their culture and people who aren't in touch with their roots, and now you're bringing up hate, and that was something that's been like on my mind for the last few minutes as you ladies are discussing this. It's even intra-racial discrimination. So it's not just blacks against whites, it's blacks against blacks, and then there's tribes and in your race, and then it becomes, and then it's like, what are we even doing? Like, what's the real, like, there's so many layers. I think that exactly. I think.
But that's why acknowledgement is important.
That's it, because as people, it's true. We all have both sides, and there's that side. We do have a need to discriminate. I think just for safety reasons or something. That's kind of in our DNA, to be like, to see someone or to see something and be like, is this safe?
We don't know.
Is this safe or unsafe? Am I going to be all right here, or do I have to go into
we fear what we don't know.
That's it. Yeah. So ignorance, exactly. It links back to that, but it really it pains me to see. We're all humans, so there's the human race, and then there's people hating on, like, say, an Asian guy hating on a Latino dude. I don't know, but then you narrow it down and there's people just hating each other. It doesn't matter where you're from, and then it just breaks my heart.
Something when we go back to hate, something that I noticed, and I think you've probably noticed it too, all the native people from, like, all over the world, the natives in Australia, the natives probably in Argentina,
oh my God,
the natives from Burundi, probably the natives from, like, the tribe that's like more native in Nigeria, the natives from here, they are all like the lower casted people. Well, they're all like the kind of like the forgotten people, like the people that are just like thrown there, and it's just like, oh yeah, them.
Yeah. I have it within my blood. Yeah. On my mom's side. Yeah. Native, and I was actually proud to see that Argentina took off a colony statue. And replaced it with an Indian statue to represent our land, because, for instance, where it's all of America from the north to the south, but it's like in our culture, it's very, very present, you know, and it's true. It's undercasted, you know, and Isa just touched on something that's very true that we don't want to admit to the world, but it's the truth. Within our communities, there is also a lot of discrimination. Yeah. And you're right, Dee. It's, you know, that's the lowest of the totem pole. And then within I don't know how it is. I know that certain African countries I've traveled to, where darker was considered, you know, higher class, and the lighter, and then other places the vice versa. And in Latin America, that's also an issue. Especially where I'm from.
Colorism.
You know, they dismiss completely all the black culture, all the black race. And it's very present in our culture. Yeah. You know, they're even, they're launching, it's launched, in the United States, a documentary about the roots of tango. You know? It comes from Africa. It comes from, you know, the black slaves that were brought to South America, that were brought to Argentina. It's very
evolved from there.
It's very present in my culture. Well, it's in my family line, anyways. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's just sad. It is sad what you said, Isa, because it's like I see it in every in brackets minority. Yeah. Within our communities, it's really messed up, and even between countries.
I feel like some stories just repeat themselves constantly. I'm talking to my father, and he's telling me, like, in Burundi, how, you know, I was mentioning tribes and how there's a Hutu and a Tutsi, and now everyone's mixed up, so we don't know who's a Hutu and Tutsi anymore. But the Tutsis are in power, and the Hutu, and I'm like, okay, all right,
but it's important.
Okay, so it is very important. But then again. So they give these people guns and they shoot at each other while the big bosses are watching, and then these people die, and then their sons come and pick up the guns and shoot at each other, and it just keeps going like
propelling.
That. It just never
because hate breeds hate.
Yeah.
And then I'll always remember when I was in.
But how is everything supposed to heal if no one's going to acknowledge?
I have no idea, honestly. When I was in CJEP, I had a class.
It's true though.
And my teacher was Jewish.
Yeah.
But she didn't have a Jewish name.
Yeah.
So whatever, you can. I was so unaware, you know. And then there's this girl and this guy in the class, and I think it was like the second or third class, and they learned that their teacher is Jewish, and they just take their stuff and they leave. And they were in like another of my classes, and I asked them like, what happened? And they're like, well, I'm not gonna take a class with a Jewish teacher because they're Palestinians.
Oh my god!
But it's just that because that hate is, it's like you said, it's in your DNA. Do you know what I mean? And
influenced also by your environment.
That's it.
Because you're not born racist.
No.
You know, you're not born
but
racist.
I feel it's like
someone's teaching you that shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, honestly, I feel like the whole like Palestinian and Jewish, like, you know, like conflict.
Yeah, well,
I don't see a resolution. I don't even see a resolution. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like every conversation that starts with indoctrinating another person into why you don't like these people, even though they were like playing and they didn't see it. It starts with, this is what this person did to me.
Yeah.
True.
And I doubt any story ever comes. I don't know. Maybe there's a story. There's some people. I'm sure there's probably somebody who goes, listen, son, we're going to hate these people because we are better than them.
Yeah.
We are better than them. They've done nothing to us. We saw them. We knew they were just disgusting and wrong, and we're better than them. I don't know if there's people who have that conversation. But
that's kind of what happened to slaves.
But do you think it was that,
something.
or was it that they said these people are heathens and they live in very dirty ways that could affect our way of life and make us victims of them? So they're not taking care of their land, and they're fucking monkeys and fucking each other in the head, literally, like putting vaginas over someone's forehead or nose. What? And they're not religious and they're not Christian, and so that they are going to sellify God's word.
I think it was all of that. I think it was
it's still their victims
because it boils down to I am better than them, so I
have the real word of God. I have the real blood.
I want to ask you something, just with everything you guys said. Okay, I believe in live and let live. Okay, and ideally, Lady Andy, it's almost utopian at this point. It would be wonderful if everyone could just see everyone's spirit.
Yeah.
Never mind look past culture and race and sex and tattoos and piercings and dreads and afros and hips and boobs and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Well put.
The fact is, that is not the world we're living in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to live a peaceful life, and you are not being aggressive about anything, no topics, and you're very open-minded, open-spirited, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But things keep happening to you, whereas, because I wasn't able to go believe it, and I'm light-skinned. I hate that term, but anyways, I still wasn't able to go. I was in the south. I was somewhere in the south, the United States, a few years ago, and I wasn't allowed to go eat at a restaurant.
Yeah,
because blacks and spics were not allowed. That's exactly what I was told.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually dumbfounded. I never even thought that I would hear that in this era.
Day and age.
Yeah. What do you do though when people are still being killed? You're being discriminated. You cannot have the jobs. You have to work 10 million times more. You
and
know,
it's still not enough.
Let me ask you something. I have a friend of mine. Shout out to you, Peta.
Woo-woo.
She's studying right now in Chicago.
Yeah.
She's partly black, and she's living in a decent part of Chicago, but is too scared to have her brother come visit her. Because she's scared if he runs or to the bus or anything, and you know, he's a good kid, everything, but she's scared to have her brother visit her. From here? Yes. I'm with her. Okay?
I get it.
Oh yeah.
Now, when that's reality, and when, you know, publicly you're hearing now on TV things like, you know, what Kelly Osbourne said, you know, or, you know, people, even Latinos, scared to talk because they don't know what will happen to them. Yeah. I do feel strongly about that. Now, when this starts becoming your reality all the time and it's around you, and you're being affected by it, and you have children, and you have to be scared for your children to die in 2015, okay? And you like I said, you're an open-minded person, you're this and you're that. What are you supposed to do?
You know,
what are you supposed to do?
I feel as though I could never answer that question. because for one, it's like I don't think anybody out there can give anyone a manifesto of what they're supposed to do with their lives. And especially if that is not my reality. The only thing I can do when I hear things like that is try to remember to really have compassion for that person going through that if I can. And
I'm sickened by watching it, to be honest. It sickens me.
And remember to I mean, I'm going to sound like, you know, like a Bible thumper or whatever you want to call it, but to pray for them, even just silently in my head, just like I really, if I can remember to do that, and then, you know, I have to remember to just be grateful for the fact that I live for some reason in a pocket of a world, and I'm not talking about geographically, but that this is my reality. Like, I'm really grateful that I can be around my friends. I've always had friends from different cultures, that people no longer say the N-word to me. People not very much often do that to me. I mean, it happens from time to time, and when it does happen, I feel more like I can laugh. And I really wish that for people out there who are going through stuff, and if I can take care of myself in the moments now that I'm here, and keep from being angry all the time, and be strong and feel appreciative for what I have, that when the call really comes where I know I can answer it and I can be there for people who really need me, whatever the situation is, that I can be there for them.
But let me ask you something. Maybe you're not affected personally by racial things. How about sexism? Are you not affected by
actually
sexism?
That's interesting too. I get affected by sexism, and I honestly, like, I do, like, I mean, literally,
double whammy.
My host's father is my love, my family. You know, I encountered so much sexism in the past, like months that I was just like, you guys are funny. I don't know, like,
but
sometimes I get very angry.
Culture.
It's ingrained in the culture, but I got to see it, and I was like, "This is just how you think."
But are you not okay? Are you not affected even in North America as a woman here in North America? Are you not part of discrimination as a woman?
I get discriminated on so many things. Like, I get discriminated. I'm pretty much the only. I've been in my building for the longest time. I was the only black person there for a long time.
There we go.
And you know, there's been a few, like, if one thing happens where I'm concerned that I've caused trouble, let me be real. But if one little thing happens, they feel comfortable to come and do certain things. I was discriminated against in a condo building because I was a renter. That was interesting.
Wow.
I was laughing my ass off at that one too. But there was a day where I was like, do that shit again and find out what's gonna happen. But the thing is that was my battle.
Okay.
And I don't deny the people who need to be warriors.
That's it.
If you need to be a warrior, I give you all of my blessings.
I think something has to change, man. I'm sorry. Race, sexism, judging people based on how they wear their hair, their shape of their body, they got tattoos, they got piercings. I don't give a shit. This needs to change. And as much as I respect what you said.
Girl, I
feel blessed that I'm not affected as much as other people.
Yeah.
And even people that I love dearly that I have to watch around the world. You know, but regardless, it's like, to me, no, we actively have to do something.
It's crazy.
We actively have to do something. We do. There's got to be a change. Smartly, though. In a smart way, people.
And always be aware that for every force, there's an opposing force. There's always going to be someone somewhere trying to go against you, so we have to remain focused on what we're trying to make happen. Ultimately, we can't change the mind of the whole world. We can only move people one person at a time through example. But what I was trying to say is this: it's messed up. Like, as an actor, you know, we're talking about just experiences. I feel very fortunate to have grown up in a very multicultural environment, and all throughout, just from kindergarten all the way till now, and my friends are from all over the world, and I have amazing people around me, always have. But say I have experienced moments where, say, I get on set, and if I don't bring my makeup, I might be in trouble because the makeup artist won't have the shade of my skin,
which is fucked up because there's makeup out there.
But that's it.
It's every shade of the rainbow.
But that's it. It makes you wonder, really, because ultimately, there should be no excuse for that. No excuse. I'm sorry, but
like
the person, first of all, they have a picture of me. They have a picture of me. They know I'm going to be black. But without fail, every time I get on set, I'm asked, "Did you bring your makeup? Did you bring your makeup?" Or say I was at an award show and I swear I knew they were going to mispronounce my last name, even though, you know, someone had called me to make sure that it was said right properly. They wrote it phonetically, but somehow on the day that the girl was presenting my award, she still, like, she went, "Asa," and tried to, like, laugh it off. And I was like, wow, like, the level of ignorance and disrespect sometimes.
And it's like, how is that okay?
Yeah, but for some reason it's okay. Like, for me, it was like, it was normal. I laughed it off, and I knew it was messed up, but I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
And I knew it was gonna happen, but it is messed up to know that it's gonna happen.
But we have two actresses in the house. Dee, let me ask you something.
What?
How do you feel about African names being asked to be changed in the acting world?
Fuck that shit.
Because people can't pronounce it.
No, listen.
I'm saying in brackets.
If you want to change your name, if you want to personally change your name, if that's what you want to do, and it's your personal decision, you know, people do it all the time. By all means, do what you do. But if you're like, if your agent is like, you need to change your name if you're not going to have a career, drop that motherfucker, get another one.
Yo,
yes.
You know, the messed up thing, though, is, say, I went to theater school, and one of our teachers, she was amazing. She was amazing. She knew what she was talking about. She was super inspiring. And out of concern, she wasn't even coming from that, you know, like a shitty agent.
Place.
Like, she was like, seriously, I've worked with casting houses and everything, and have you ever thought about shortening your last name? She's like, that's something...
To, like, Shiba or something,
she was like, because sometimes casting agents and she's seen people be turned down just because they can't pronounce the last name, which I find really silly, but she was really trying to... Like, she was trying to make sure that I was checking out all my options, you know?
But you guys just said the same thing. You're just saying it in a very polite way. And... Dee said the same thing. Basically, an agent will tell you won't have a career.
So basically, it is the same message. But ultimately, I remember printing out one headshot where instead of writing Liberi Kure, I wrote Kure, and I literally felt like someone stabbed me in the stomach. Like it hurt me more than I had ever thought it would. Like it felt like a part of my identity was chopped, and in doing so, I was like, exactly. I was like, fuck this shit, and I felt so empowered. Now, when no one can ever make me feel a way about having my last name full as it is, with all the consonants, freaking people out and shit.
Well, fuck, like anything else, you learn how to pronounce it, man. Like, stop that shit, man.
That's it. And people learn how to say it, and they're excited. You know what I mean? They're happy. But the thing is, it's just I remember that day being really important and feeling like I felt more grounded within myself and somehow more connected to my roots because I did not change it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like knowing that you didn't get a part because your last name is too hard to pronounce hurts less than changing your name. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's
and being like, oh, but I did. It's like, no, this is who I am, man.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
You're asking me not to
put me through the audition and we'll see. Like,
let my tell.
Does my name act?
You know what I mean?
Like,
there's something. You know what? There's something I kind of came upon recently. Mm-hmm. You know that last year I was like, what is that? The deaf fish. How do you say that?
Like, you were the lead.
Yeah. What? So I was the lead.
You were the lead.
She was the lead. Okay. Sister Act.
Okay. So like something just I think it was Gab that told me that, and I don't remember. And I was just like, I realized that if I was white right now, contracts would be pouring in because of the show that I did.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like, I did this. It's great. It looks great. People know
and
that
everybody
I'm awesome.
And everybody talks about Sister Act.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And it stays like in frozen in time.
Yeah.
This is
exactly.
where D is Sister Act.
Exactly. Frozen in time. You know?
Frozen in time.
And I was just like, it's a reality.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, she's great. We don't know what the fuck to do with her, though.
Yeah.
So,
but what are we gonna do? Are you going to stop trying to push the envelope and get roles, and even go to roles that auditions for roles that are not typecast? Yeah. No, you know what I mean. Like, people need to, like.
That's why you need to create your own work.
No,
also.
but yes.
No, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
The thing. But we have to create our own stuff.
We have to create our own stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we need, like, we're always talking about that, right? It's like,
we are.
Even before having, you know, the great actors and everything, we need ethnic people to write shows. We need ethnic people to write.
This is what I always say. You know how you were saying it's sad that within our communities there's, like, violence within ourselves, there's discrimination within ourselves. I personally think we're living in 2015. This is a world based on economy.
Yes.
Based on right? No, but really it is. It doesn't matter the way you want to slice it. You're with it, you're not with it. That's reality.
Yeah.
If we start educating ourselves in whatever it is and creating things within our communities, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Because it's causing the economy to flow. Wait. Also creating jobs, right?
Yeah.
Making people proud to be part of something that is theirs.
Yes.
There is nothing to me when people come up to me, and it's happened ample times. It always happens to me. Oh, you're Latina? Like what I said before. Oh, you're well-spoken. How come you don't have an accent? You are well-educated. Yeah, I also own 2 companies.
Well, you know...
And you know what?
Yeah.
That is something from as a teen, besides my personality, which I don't do too well with orders, but besides that, because I could be a really good worker. I work hard, I have very good work ethic, I'm actually a good employee. But
she said, she put that in quotes. I just want to put that there.
Yeah, I put it in quotes. No, but I am. Like, if, you know, but I made a decision. But I made a decision, and it's funny because I made that decision since very young. I was like, no, I'm not going to be a statistic. No, why shouldn't I have? You always tell me that. You're like, Sybil, I don't know what it is. You always, like, you feel that, you know, that why wouldn't I have a piece of the pie?
Yeah.
I do think I deserve it.
Yeah.
You know what you deserve, and you're not afraid to go for it.
And from young, I put that in my head, and I'm like, no. And I've had a lot of girlfriends that were like, yeah, you know how it is in our culture. And I'm like, fuck that shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No. I will educate myself. Yes, I speak many languages. Yes, I've traveled. Yes, I've owned businesses. Why? I can't because I'm Latina? Bullshit. And that's where it's going to start. people need, within our communities, we have to build a strong foundation. Right now, it's really not there.
I really agree with that.
It's not there.
And when you say strong foundation, I'm really happy you said that, because that is essentially my goal. I'm going to talk about me.
And I'm going to say that with women as well.
With women, especially. Thank you.
Let's segue.
With women, especially with women. One thing that I say is that I look at what's going on in Africa and some of these places. People want to be around Nigerians now, blah, blah, blah. They want to have this African person. They want to have this now. It's because after a point in my life of being put down or victimized because I was different on different levels, whether it was just my ironically skin color in America and in Europe and all these countries where predominantly it was good to be as light as possible, and when I was in Africa because I was too light, but not too light, there's just something about you that they
that's
know
what I'm saying.
that no,
we
and
don't talk about our own people.
What is it?
But
is it your
true.
dad is in this level, this bracket, which is not really up there, but he's not down here, so you're with both of us, and we're just like, no, you're not one of us. Like, my whole life was that. My whole life was that with women, and at one point it just said, people would come with some stupid stuff, and I would just be like, I don't even want to discuss you at my lunch break.
Right?
You're not going to be part of my
But we have to
conversation.
I love what you're saying, because we have to take responsibility. Dee, you and I were having a conversation about TV shows.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm adamant about. We have to take responsibility as whatever culture you're from, as women. If we're being depicted as ratchet, catty, whatever it be, we're giving these people even more fuel.
And if they tell me that I'm sorry, but excuse me, you're gonna have to cover up a little bit more to be appropriate.
Fuck you. Sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, it's not even like
sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's I'm not gonna pay my time. Not that there's anything wrong, because there's some women fighting at the front lines that need to be fighting at the front lines right now.
Yeah.
They are supposed to
and
be
respect
there. And I
them.
support them, and I respect them, and I
have
hold
mad
them
respect
up
for that.
to the same things that I say of anybody. If you're going to be responsible for yourself, be responsible for yourself. But for me, I don't have time to fight with every single dude on the street that has time to say something stupid to me. I do not have time to think about
you're
you.
talking about that.
I do not have time to think about you.
So,
and the same thing. I just go, I try my best. It's not always possible. Sometimes I have to get mad and be like, this is who I stand for, and this is why I'm proud.
No, I agree, but I mean as a collective, like on television. Every time you're seeing in a lot of shows, and the shows that are popular, even watched by us, like, I mean, our people, is that the depictions of any minority, if it's a Latina, she's dumb and just sexual, or she's a maid, and or if not, you're fighting, and you're fighting,
throwing
glasses, and between women.
Oh yes, but here's another thing though. It's like
I'm tired.
I'm all about community, and I'm all about like foundation and everything. But there's also the whole thing about how I don't want to carry the weight of my whole people on my shoulder.
That's it.
No, but that's why everybody has to take responsibility.
Yes, but in the sense that like I already know that I am a black woman, so I need to work like 5 times as hard. I already know that. This is how the world is right now. It's shifted, it's getting better, but this is what it is.
But by the way, guess why I'm fabulous?
Yes. You are fabulous.
Yes.
Just want to tell you, all you a-holes, that I wasn't good enough.
Don't get it twisted.
Thank you very much, because it just made me all the better.
That's it.
No, but I'm just bulldozing my way through. I don't give a shit. Ain't nobody telling me I can't.
But see, that's another thing that okay, so hold on.
It's not happening.
Talking about like I don't want to carry the whole weight of like my whole people. Okay, there's bad people from every freaking place in the world. There's lazy people, there's shitty people, there's amazing people, there's geniuses. You know what I mean? And the thing that I find amazing, though, is that no matter how the discrimination span goes, you know, like, you know, in certain places you can't be gay, in other places you can't be Catholic, in other places you can't be a Muslim, you know what?
You can't be French.
You can't be a woman. I mean, you are a woman, but
you can't have a flat nose.
Do you know what I mean?
A flat nose killed all those people.
But do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all of those things, I feel like it doesn't, I mean, it stops people, but there's still the core of you that comes out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if we, like, I'll take the example of gay people, okay? In the sense that, like, they're like, oh, you can't be gay here, and they'll be like, there are no gays in Iran. I'm like, bruh,
Yeah.
there are gays in Iran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, some people, they're gonna embrace who they are, like you said, and fight at the forefront. You know, like the women that fought for the vote. They're just like...
Well, there's that Hindu prince. He went public 2 years ago on television.
Yes.
He was on Oprah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's gay. And his mother disowned him, like, publicly. She went on the news because he went on Oprah and he said, I'm gay and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a prince, like, high up there.
Yeah.
And she disowned him publicly. And this whole thing, but he kept fighting. He did gay prides and all of that, and at that time he went to jail and all kind of stuff over there. He kept pushing, and now there's a tolerance for it, and like even his family ended up accepting him, and that's what I mean. It's like at the end of the day, I agree
You are
with
who you are, man.
I agree for being grateful, and I agree for praying, and I agree for all of that, whatever it be. But I just think that we all need to take, each of us, responsibility for ourselves. There has to be a change.
That's it.
And it's not with only the obvious stuff that we see on television or that we're living up here. I cannot tell you in our countries, in Latin America, how much, a whole family is living off of $10 a month.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, and this is south of the border. Okay, we all talk about the obvious stuff. I know what's going on in our countries. There's shit going like that in Asia too.
There's shit going on here.
Yeah, it has to stop. And you know what? If we can't even as ourselves take responsibility for who we are, and accept the person sitting beside you has their own struggle and have been through their own struggle and their family's been through their own struggle, we're not going to get anywhere.
I agree.
Exactly.
But you have to
not.
accept who you are first.
That's it. And
You have to accept who you are, and you
Light
have
and
to
shadow.
And if you
Light
do
and
not
shadow.
accept who you are, you will not accept the person sitting beside you. Because I guarantee you, if you accept who you are, you will have compassion. You might not understand the struggle that the person beside you is going through because you did not go through it, and don't pretend just because you're listening to the same music that you've been through the same damn thing.
That's it.
Because that is bullshit.
Exactly.
But if you accept yourself and are really honest with yourself, you will be able to do the same thing with the other person and accept their reality and stand by somebody else.
It's true.
And educate yourself. If you don't know, educate yourself, because ignorance is the root of all evil.
Exactly.
And
ignorance.
go and find out something.
And I dropped the mic.
Curious. Drop the mic.
I just wanted to ask that. You're talking about knowing yourself. It's important to know yourself. I know I am not, right now where I'm at in my life, I'm not going to be one of those people who goes to the forefront of a march shouting I don't know what to I don't know who. And like we said, I give mad props to the people who are out there fighting. I'm an activist in my own right. When I write music, I keep that in mind, and I feel like everyone's born with certain gifts once again, and part of knowing yourself is being able to tap into that and realize that if ever you do connect to that gift, whichever it is, then somehow you are making the world a better place. And I find that in my songwriting, I have been an activist without even trying to, because I'm speaking from a real place, and hopefully that'll inspire someone out there to do the same, however the hell they want to do it. And I feel like most of the hate that we experience in the world stems from people not realizing what they're here for, what they are supposed to be sharing with the world. People are just really unhappy.
But I also think people are hiding behind whatever it be. If it's a community, if it's, and I'm sorry to say this, behind church, behind religion. Sorry, that's what I meant. Spirituality, behind, I have so-and-so friend, I could count them. Whatever you're hiding behind.
Behind Instagram followers.
I don't give a fuck. Take the mask down, look at yourself, stop it, stop catching feelings and being all up in your emotions, and take responsibility.
That's it.
For yourself first.
And yes, take responsibility for yourself first. Know yourself, and like I said before, light and shadow. There's always stuff we don't like about ourselves, but they're still there, and it's okay that they're there. It's just that once you acknowledge them, they're like, they don't have the same power over you because you know they're there and you accept them. But if you push them back, like in your subconscious, and you're like, it's not there,
it's wreaking havoc. Like
like I'm not a person that has a lot of pride, even though I am. It's like you have to embrace that.
I'm gonna say something. I think that these two agendas that are going on right now, that are very, 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 very obvious, which is race and sexism.
Yeah.
I really think that part of this is completely contrived, in the sense that they want us to go crazy and go crazy about it and all of this, so they could give us a little bit of laws after, and we're gonna shut the fuck up. And you know what? That goes into the feminist agenda as well. Okay, I am, by real definition, a feminist. But the agenda that I am seeing right now absolutely enrages me to a level that I can't even express right now, because you know what? We're going backwards. People are not realizing that this is being created so we could do a lot of rah-rah-rahs women, and then we're given one or two little laws, and then we're going to shut up, and it's going to start again in another 25, 50 years. You know what? It's planned. It's planned. Part of it is planned. They want that. Just like they fled streets with drugs, just like none of that is coincidental.
I agree, but sometimes I feel like I'm overwhelmed with like everything that's going on, and I feel like I'm just like, what is my real power? What can I really do? And that's where I agree with Isa. That's like we all have our special talents. We all have our things that we can tap in, and I will always go back to the most important thing is that, in order to change the world, we need to change one person at a time, and the first person you need to change is yourself. I feel like if you can work on yourself, connect with people with whom you can make those changes. But
people are being hypocrite because people are talking. That's my point. Like I just said about the feminist agenda.
Yeah,
I see a lot of people talking, but even if it's in your way, what are you doing? What are you contributing for change? So this is my question, and this is a question for everybody out there as well. I would like to know, because I hear a lot of talking. A lot.
I'd like to answer that question, and I really would love to hear genuinely what people feel they are doing to contribute to change. I want to contribute. I know we're running out of time.
No, just speak louder.
Okay. This is such a deep topic, and you could go on this for so long, but for me right now, I've decided that if I want to be able to, I don't want to let anyone stand in my way anymore of me being happy or prosperous or abundant or in love or whatever. And so that's first thing that I did. Number two is, if you are in my way, I really trust myself that I'll be able to deal with the situation at that time. And I don't spend so much time sharpening my tools or thinking about you unless you're standing in front of me. And another thing was, I really decided I had to face the discrimination that was in my heart. And it was very easy when I was like, oh, I'm discriminated, I'm a little racist. Ha ha ha, Chinese people, these people, da 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 da. Yeah. But I really had that under control, and I was lucky. I'm mixed, so like I got access to different people. I can't be mad at you. You look like me in a way, you know. But I realized that I was really prejudiced against people that held differing opinions or anything different than me, and I felt like if by virtue of them feeling differently than I did, that something was wrong with them. And I would fight against it. And now I just like, I feel safe having what I want, and I feel like you have your journey, and if I feel like it's pushing against something that I believe, I will take the time to look at that, and I'll honor myself in the process. But I will not treat you like the enemy anymore. I'm trying to eliminate having enemies, and if I do have an enemy, recognize why they're there and then grow from it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing right now. And if I see a guy, or like, it's happened a number of times, this is where I get a little touchy, where you're victimizing someone in the street, I feel very strongly, almost outside of my own well-being, that I cannot watch that kind of discrimination take place in front of me.
But what happens when it affects you directly? Like, for instance, going to like feminism, right? Going into the whole thing. Being in business myself for years, I was up against that for like, I have to say, like over a decade. And having to work harder than everybody else, having to prove myself constantly, people telling me that I need to be like a man, and that was a really big, that was not good. That, you know, like I went overboard with that, to a point where it's like I became aggressive, you know. And how do you deal with it though? I mean, what you're saying is like, okay, I don't want enemies, I don't want to, like, I get it, that's on the street and I get that. But when you're affected personally, like, this is your well-being now. This is what, you know, you have to do to put food on your table.
It's my fuel.
Okay?
It's my fuel.
Right.
It's my fuel. It's my fuel. If you're putting an obstacle in front of me, you don't think I'm good enough because you have something blocking your eyes. It's my fuel to find myself. It's my fuel to get what I want. It's my fuel to do whatever I have to do with myself and trust myself. To
but
find
that's
a place
good.
of
But don't you also
myself.
think, for instance, we have a responsibility for instance, like our the younger girls coming up.
Yeah.
To also be good role models and also educate these younger women.
Yeah.
Because
model to the women, model to the girls, model to the children.
But don't you think we have a responsibility to educate them too?
Absolutely. But how do you educate? By yourself.
By yourself.
But it starts there.
Yeah.
I just think that's step one though.
That is absolutely step one. I think we all
can't just stop.
I was all like very passionate, like,
well,
when you see a young lady, show her what a queen looks like.
Look, that's step one. Why are we even doing this podcast?
Because we're freaking queens.
Besides that, that's the first step, right?
Because that's step
acknowledging who we are. But now we want to put our thoughts.
We want them to be immortalized in infinity.
We all know,
but hopefully it is helping people out there. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. It's like step one is acknowledging, working on yourself. But then what do you do with that?
You reach out.
You show up.
But as you know, you say collective. But don't you think we have responsibility individually to be part of that collective to actually bring something to the table?
But that's
you have to find the tribe.
That's what I was saying. It's like, so you tap into yourself.
Yeah.
You face your shit. Right? Somehow in the rubble of that, once you get out of there and you're like, God, I'm still alive, hopefully you figure out, wow, I'm here for a reason. I'm here and I have all of this to give. Let me tap into that. So you work on your talents, whatever it is. I feel like the person who was there to inspire Martin Luther King is just as important as Martin Luther King in the sense, right?
Yes.
So it's like we're all connected, and the thing is,
the person who showed him kindness.
The true responsibility. That's it. The true
Yeah.
responsibility, I think, lies in it is within yourself, because we are one. It sounds so out there. We keep saying it, but it's
so
true.
simple.
And the thing is, there's so many moments where I've been inspired by someone. She was not trying to push an agenda other than her own. Let's say an artist, a poet, a writer.
Yeah.
But somehow, through that's inspired me to do what I want to do. And maybe what I want to do is doing this thing for this person. And in the meantime, I'm not sitting here being like, this bitch like that, this bitch like this. I swear, like, any time that I felt like that is when I've been unhappy with myself.
Well, those are they're not tools. You can't do anything with that.
But that's it.
You think you can, and you'll be doing a lot of shouting, but that's not going to go.
That's it. So ultimately, right?
Step one.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
You gotta walk out and be like, I'm king, and I'm man, I'm pissed, you killed this person, so I'm gonna fuck you up, you white privileged asshole. You know, you just like, dude, like,
you can't do
what
that.
is your goal here?
No, it's not gonna say. Well, you can do all that,
but it ain't gonna lead nowhere.
You can do all that when you have serious ammunition.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any tools, because your foundation and there's no army to go on that, on the war's path. Sorry, you're getting bombed.
It's like you have an army who every single day,
art of war people, art of war.
They go out and they fight a war at this place, whether the person shows up or not. They do it every single day. They're like, and then the day that someone actually shows up, they're tired. Yeah. They're tired because they've been frigging out for like the past 3 weeks.
Or they're like, wait a minute, I gotta go back to the life that I'm seeing that I don't.
That's some bad leadership right there. So
we say a big no to bad leadership, y'all. And I do think that the punchline of the day is check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in for your special favorite happy hour. Make sure to tune in for the next episode of Let's